say namaste, is that right? That's welcome, isn't it, I think? Yes, yes. Thank you. On namaste.
Bryan, you have 15 minutes to talk and then 5 minutes to take answers.
Sure.
Please write down your questions and have it over.
I'm not an academic. I'm a teacher, principal. I've been a science educator, and I'm going to very much come to this talk about my experiences as an educator and as a teacher. As I say, I'm currently principal of a school which is a brand new school, so I have no staff, no students, and no building at the moment. So my job at the moment is to open a brand new school, and I think it's quite an interesting one in terms of the gifted and talented movement, because it's not specifically aimed at that, but it's a new kind of school, and I just want to bring that into the discussion over these next few minutes. So first of all, just to give you a little bit of background about that, we're going through quite a lot of curriculum change in the UK at the moment, and I want to bring some of that into the discussion. There's been a real shortage of engineering people going to STEM subjects, basically science, technology, engineering, and maths, and particularly into engineering. And a new kind of school is opening up, which is the one I'm opening up near Heathrow in London. And it's basically called a university technical college, and it involves a vocational curriculum which is geared for 14 to 19-year-olds. It says 18 on there, but some of them may stay on a little bit longer. All of the university technical colleges are very different in that they offer a specialism that's usually related to a shortage STEM subject. They also have a partnership with a university, and the purpose for that is to try to get some of the academic support for the programs that they're running. Also, the key aspect of it is that the employers are involved with the program from the very start. So each of the university technical colleges has a suite of employers who are supporting the program and helping develop the curriculum. Students can stay on post-age 16, and go into higher education. So many of them do that in the UK, but the difference here as well is that we're preparing students for vocational careers. So many of them will become technicians in the engineering industry. There are about 17 open UTCs in the UK across the country, and about 40 in development at the moment, and another 6 have been announced. So it's quite a growing movement of schools, and as I said, it's a different kind of offer with that vocational education. The one I'm opening, and as I say, I have no students, so I've only got pictures of what the school will look like, and it is being built at the moment. Partners up with British Airways, Brunel University, Heathrow Airport, Virgin Atlantic, and 2 local education providers alongside the Royal Air Force to provide a curriculum that's very much based on aviation engineering. So our focus is aviation. We aim to provide a broad range of engineering students who will go into engineering careers, but the focus is very much on aviation in its broadest sense. So our educational offer is quite interesting, because how do you take students who have come from a whole variety of backgrounds and provide one that will be stimulating for them and provide the right outcomes for their particular background? We will get students who are gifted and talented, who will have really good science and maths backgrounds, but we will also get students who will become the technicians of the future, who will work their way up through a vocational route. And the key thing about all of the university technical colleges is that they all have an open selection process. There is no selection on ability. So as long as the students have an interest in the engineering, and therefore math, science and technology, they will be able to come along and join the school. The other aspect to it is that they will have an academic curriculum alongside the vocational curriculum. So at pre-age 16, students will have a technical study that will be around 40% of the curriculum time, alongside their regular suite of academic subjects, GCSEs, A-levels in the UK. But those technical studies will be the kind of qualifications that employers really want. And that those employability skills, those skills that Rene was talking about earlier on, are very much built into that curriculum so that we can develop that alongside. When the students get to 16, they then reverse and they have a lot more time on their technical studies. So very much a focus on project-based working, looking at how do you bring the academic side, the knowledge alongside the skills, and bringing the two together rather than trying to separate them. Now, just a bit of personal history, because I think some of this is relevant to our discussion. The reason why I'm principal for this new school is because I've got a background in aviation. I started off as a technician myself. That's a picture of me many years ago working on aeroplanes in the RAF. I then moved to become a physics teacher in a new school in Bristol, and I got involved with a whole range of curriculum development in an exciting new school called the City Technology College. Now, that school was a forerunner, really, for the University Technical College movement. I then got involved more latterly. About a year ago, when I first met Papia, I was involved with the Science Learning Centre network, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that and how the important elements that brings towards the gifted movement. So what I'm trying to do, really, in this talk is to try to bring my experiences to date and use that to sort of come up with a set of sort of conditions or factors, if you like, that sort of would promote gifted learning. So latterly, I was involved with the Science Learning Centres, which is very much about professional development for teachers, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that as well. I think the first thing to put into context is the scale that we're talking about. And listening to you talk about India, I did a little bit of background research on data. And in terms of the differences in populations, they're quite staggering between India and the UK. So I think probably we cannot transfer too much from the UK because India is so large and it has such a special thing. But I'm hoping that some of the areas I'm talking about will be able to be useful for Indian schools. Certainly in terms of the number of schools, there's an order of magnitude in difference between the two populations. So currently, you know, the UK is quite a small number in comparison, but hopefully this will be of some use. In terms of where we're going in the UK with the government at the moment, there's quite a lot of change going on in terms of the curriculum, and this is the coalition government's statement about what they want to implement over the next, well, from when they came into power a couple of years ago in terms of what they want to implement. They're trying to give greater autonomy to schools, and that's being delivered through academy programs where schools are freed from local authority control. They're giving parents more choice with schools like UTCs, offering more support for disadvantaged students, whole system improvement. What they're talking about there is more rigorous inspection programs and greater quality provision for children, so giving more opportunities there. But a few years ago, I was very much involved with the STEM framework, which was a policy that was delivered across England, looking at how we could get more students studying science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And there was a framework set down which came up with some very clear guidelines and approaches that needed to happen for this to take place. So it was all about getting the curriculum right, adjusting the national curriculum. So that's, for example, providing a science curriculum that's suitable for those who want to study science further, but also for people who are not going to take it beyond age 16. Getting the infrastructure right in terms of education, supporting teachers, giving the right professional development, and enriching the curriculum with other opportunities. And also showing what careers, where STEM can take you in terms of your career. Now, we touched on this earlier, and young people are very conscious of the future and where they can go and where the earnings potential is in various careers. So they do very much look at that. So they need to be informed about the careers aspects. So just to touch on some of these areas, you've got an organisation in the UK now called STEMnet, which provides a whole range of enrichment and enhancement activities for students. So that could be anything from providing STEM clubs in after-school clubs. It could be for linking employers with schools. It could be developing competitions and after-school or summer school type activities. But the core piece of their work is to actually develop these STEM ambassadors. And what they have is a series of trained ambassadors who go into schools to support various activities. So these people are good communicators, they're good role models, and they've gone through a training program so that can be seen to be useful for the schools, but particularly for young people as role models and moving forward. We also have something called the National STEM Centre based at the University of York, where you have a huge range of online resources and physical resources stored there that can be accessed. Now that is really quite useful. I would encourage anybody here to sign up to that if you're involved with STEM education, because it's a free login and you'll find a whole wealth of opportunities there if you want to have a look at that. But moving on a little bit here, one of the most fundamental factors is thinking about the quality of teachers. This is an interesting study that was done by the OECD about the highest performing countries and what they do. And they came out with this idea that the highest performing countries have three key features. They have a national curriculum, they have strong accountability measures, but they also have ongoing teacher development. And a few years ago, this was a real issue for English schools. There were particularly in science and STEM subjects, there was no training really available for these teachers. And as a result, the quality of science education particularly was suffering. So what happened was there was an initiative called the Science Learning Centres, where 9 regional centres and a national centre was set up to promote science education in its broadest sense. So we even got involved with technology teaching, and so the links between science, technology, engineering and maths were all made available. There was a similar centre set up for mathematics as well. And essentially what you had was a central organisation able to support teachers with good pedagogy, access to new science and research so that they could make their science teaching interesting and stretching for students. So I was involved with the Southwest Centre a year ago, and I was involved based in a science centre called at Bristol in the city of Bristol. We had a partnership with the University of Bristol and the University of Plymouth, and that gave us access to world-class research that we could bring to bear on our professional development courses. But through working in the Science Centre, I've also learned the importance of informal learning opportunities for that creativity, that sense of scientific inquiry. A year ago, I managed to visit Kolkata as a part of a British Council project, and I visited the science fair that was going on at the time, and there was a huge range of activity going on there. But what I wanted to do was to talk now briefly about a couple of projects that I've been involved with. This was throughout Bristol, and these are the kind of projects that I think give that opportunity for creativity and scientific inquiry and generating that long-term interest. So this project was run by the University of Bristol, and it was all about earthquake engineering. The students would come in for a period up to a week, design their models, work in teams, and actually test them on a full-size engineering earthquake table. And they'd test them to destruction, they'd look at all the modes of vibration that the thing was shaking to bits at, but they'd have to consider all the science and the engineering in designing that process. They'd also have to communicate their designs on what the process that they were going through. And you can see the level of engagement that they were getting as part of that process. Now this was taken one step further and I was involved with this program at Bristol when I was working there. And this was a summer school, which we call the Brunel Summer School. It was the 200th anniversary of Brunel.